Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. This is a video that I've wanted to make for a while. Some of you know this story and some of you don't. I did go live on Blessed by Breezy's live stream a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't really get to tell every detail because number one, I was so nervous, and number two, I just didn't want to write a novel. Well, anyway, I am here on my channel and I am making a video, so here we go. This is the house. This is a picture that my mom took when they flew over to Mississippi from Oregon. And as you can see, it is a very decent house. Little did we know that this was going to be one hell of a ride. So when we first pulled up to the house, I thought, wow, this is really cool. I mean, in Oregon, you don't see a lot of brick houses or stone houses. And I walked up to the door, and the side door led into the kitchen. I am so sorry I don't have a lot of pictures. You know, we didn't have cell phones with cameras back in the day. You know, a lot of people didn't really carry disposable cameras or cameras with them and snap pictures everywhere. So forgive me. A lot of the pictures of this house, the inside, also did not turn out. Unless, as I found out, there was an animal in the room. Anyway, so as I walked up into this house, this side door, I entered the kitchen, which led into a carpeted dining entertainment room with a stone fireplace, and it was beautiful in there. And I'm really sorry I don't have a picture of it because that was my favorite room in there. It felt really inviting, even though as I stepped right into the kitchen, I did not feel invited at all. And something told me to get the hell out of there. It wasn't a voice. It was just this feeling. It felt horrible. It felt evil. But I had never dealt with anything like this before. So, going on the feeling that I had when I first stepped in that house, which I remember like yesterday, this was very new to me, and I stepped out of the house without looking at the rest of it, and I was just like shaken up, and I thought, I'm not staying here. So I did eventually go back in the house. I walked down the hall and walked into what would be my room, but I would never stay in there. And instantly felt dread and horror. And I never slept in that room, ever, the whole time I was there. As I walked down the hall, right before you walk into my room, quote unquote, there is an attic, and you pull down the ladder, and right in that area, it felt like there was a freezer, like a cold that I hope no one's ever felt, but it felt like it was coming from my bone into my body. And I felt this for the rest of the time that I was in this house. So anyway, I felt that instantly. Everything about that house was just get out of there, uninviting, just awful. So how the layout of the house worked was you had a front door, which you can see in the first picture. And then you had the side door. so I'm going to talk from the side door. So you walk in through the side door, and you have to your right a kitchen, and then facing is the dining entertainment room, and it leads down the hall. But to your immediate right is a heavy, and I want to really put this out there, very heavy swinging door that goes into the living room. And also from the kitchen, it leads to the living room with a very heavy swinging door. And it was even like to push it. It was, it took some force to like push it open. It wasn't just like an easy, like cheap door to push. This house was built in 1965. And so everything was built very well. The carpet was handmade. The linoleum was the two-tone green, as you can see in the pictures. It was just... but it didn't feel like old house, So anyway, back to the layout of the house. So you have the living room that is against the kitchen and the dining room. And you walk down the hall, and to your immediate left is the main bathroom. And the main bathroom had a sink area. It was rather large sink area that you could take a sliding door and close off from the toilet and the bathtub. And I thought that was kind of cool. It was different from any house I'd ever lived in. And then if you came out of that bathroom, walked down the hall a little further, this house, by the way, is very long. It had about 2,200 square feet. So to the right was my brother's room. And then you just walk a little bit more. To the left was my parents' room. And then, of course, at the very end was my room. So anyway, after all the feelings of not feeling wanted or invited into the house, my first encounter was this one particular night. I stayed up late watching the movie Malice with Alec Baldwin and Nicole Kidman. And I'll never forget that movie, and I haven't watched it since, and I really thought it was a good movie. I fell asleep on the floor in front of the stone fireplace in the entertainment area by the kitchen. And I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning to the sounds of the house just falling apart. Now keep in mind, I'm like half awake. I've been jolted awake. And the very heavy swinging door going into the living room from the hall is going whack open into the living room against the wall, and then it's swinging out as far as it can, going whack against the other way as far as it can. Also, the door in the kitchen that leads to the living room is doing the same. Now, we're talking like if, let's just say like 2 people are standing on each side, one person in the kitchen and one person in the living room are standing on each side that the door will swing open to, and they're just batting the door to the other person and letting it hit as far as the hinge will let it go to, or the joint, to the other person. and it's stopping, and then the other person is just like batting that door back to the other person and letting it go as far as it will to the other person and stopping before the other person grabs the door and swings it back to them. That is what these two doors were doing and not in sync. I really wish I had a picture of the doors, but the best I can do is the picture of my mom's Papillon puppy in the doorway of the kitchen, and then the picture of us in the living room with an arrow pointing towards where the other door is. But that is what was happening this night, and it was loud. I thought, I don't know what I thought, but it just, I was a pretty sound sleeper at that point. After children, I am not, but at that point, I had slept through 2 earthquakes, and they were 6-pointers. So, I was a pretty deep sleeper. I woke up in a stupor. I was terrified. I laid there. I closed my eyes. I didn't know what to do. Finally, I counted to 3. Keep in mind, something I forgot to also mention was the hallway was wood. So I went from carpet to wood, and I slid down the hall and went into my brother's room and woke him up, and he's like, "Go get Mom and Dad." And so I did. And as far as I know, about the time I was slipping and sliding to get into my parents' room, one of the doors at least was still going. And I woke my parents up, and by the time my dad got out there, everything had stopped and the doors were closed. And of course they thought I was nuts. And of course, my dad's really smart, you guys. He can fix anything. He understands the physics of things, and I was very disappointed when all he could say was, "Oh, look, there's an air conditioning vent," while looking at the door by the kitchen. We all knew that door was way too hard. It took an actual human. Even our dogs couldn't push the doors open. It really took... I don't even think a child could have pushed the door open. Maybe like a 4-year-old and up could, but a toddler, you wouldn't have to child-proof those doors. They were pretty damn heavy. They were solid. So anyway, that was my first experience, and that is something I still think about, and it actually scares me. There's been other situations I've been through that were very terrifying, and I still think about those doors, and there's something about an earthly object moving and not being able to see what is moving it. So anyway, that was the first thing. On the couch in the living room, I would often sleep on that couch. I just could not sleep in my room. I'm glad I didn't. I think what was going on and targeting me at the front of the house was nothing compared to what might have targeted me in the back of the house or in my room. So one thing I can say, though, is that our animals never seemed afraid of anything in that house. We had a parrot named Rocky. He was, I'm sure he's still alive. He's yellow-naped Amazon. We knew he couldn't make the trip back, so my mom chose to leave him with a very educated bird lady in Mississippi, and that was a very hard decision. So Rocky still lives in Mississippi, but anyway, he never acted strange. Like I said, the only pictures I could find for this video that weren't blurry or strange looking or overdeveloped were pictures with animals in them. So anyway, the next situation was a time when I came home really late after hanging out with friends. So I came in, went right into the living room. I turned on the TV and fell asleep on the couch, and there was whispering in my ear, then yelling, "Get out of here, leave," all kinds of stuff. And I woke up. As I sat up, I was like awakened all the way to a very heavy, huge family Bible up against my head. We also had some encyclopedias. Anyone remember those? And they would end up on the floor a lot of times, just randomly. It was really weird. I forgot about those until the other night when I was going through pictures and saw a picture at my childhood home when we first got them, and I thought, oh my gosh, those were the encyclopedias that ended up on the floor. So that's another thing. When my parents moved back to Washington, and I later joined them with my now ex-husband, we all talked, and we didn't really talk about what was happening to us while we were living in the house. And even though I was terrified and uncomfortable, I just lived through it. There was some really scary stuff going on to everyone else. My mom experienced something that she still talks about that really bothered her. And she said that one night she was in bed and she was feeling a little depressed, and she had just rolled over and something yelled in her ear, but it's like it wasn't in her ear, and it said, "The devil's looking over your shoulder." But it was a very androgynous voice. She could not tell if it was male or female. Another time as she walked down the hall, something whacked her upside the head, but it did not feel like your typical, like if somebody walked up and whacked you upside the head. She said it was just a different kind of feeling, and it was like she knew she got hit upside the head, but it didn't hurt. And then after my dad kind of was trying to, he never really told me that, I was seeing or hearing things about the door, but I found out later that he got his. They had a bathroom in their bedroom, and my mom was sitting in the living room, and I guess I was out for the night. And and he had turned on the light and turned on the shower in the bathroom, And when he walked back in there, the shower had been turned off and the light had been turned off. So he walked back out in the living room and asked my mom if she had done that, and she said absolutely not. Now, I do want to explain, upon saying that it is a long way through that house from the bathroom and my parents' room all the way down the hall to the living room, because that house was very long. It wasn't wide, it was just very long. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, just, and then other things about the house, just the feeling. We had some reality shows back. This is in 1994 through 95, before I moved out. We had reality shows back then, but nothing like we do now. And cameras weren't everywhere, so for me to say in 1994, I felt like something was floating above me with a camera recording my every move. I'm not a paranoid person. I want to make that very clear. But I was feeling very paranoid that someday I was going to wake up and someone was going to be standing over me. I don't know why I couldn't get it through my thick skull that there was something in that house floating above me or in front of my face, and I just couldn't see it or control it. I think that is probably the worst thing about having spirits around you, is that you have no control over the situation. But yeah, there was always activity in that house. It's just so strange to sit here and tell people that, yeah, this happened and I got hit in the head and, things were yelling at my mom and, we were just okay. It was scary. It's just really weird to tell people it was so scary and it freaked me out, but I kept living there. It was very terrifying. I really want to make that clear. It's still, I think, the scariest thing out of all the things I have seen thus far. And I've been around a shadow person that was absolutely hauntingly terrifying, was the two swinging doors. Something really, really wanted to get to me, and that was really scary. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's my Mississippi house experience. Now, I had many other experiences in haunted Mississippi, and I am going to be putting together another video. I don't really want to make this a creepy paranormal channel, because I would like this to be a variety channel, about a variety of subjects. I don't like to limit myself to one thing. So I am going to be making other videos. The spooky season is coming up, and I'm all about Halloween. I would like to do some really special things. So I do have some things I'm working on. Please be patient with me. I have been physically unable sometimes, so not fun. So anyway, I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really sorry for making you guys wait. I think what I will try to do is just make Monday my upload days. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys.